Hi there, welcome to I Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Sagittarius energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Sagittarius energy, which is about higher learning and education and wrapping your brain around this game of life and looking at life as an adventure to be lived, learning the lessons you're meant to learn so that you can move forward in life and go on another adventure. Or some people are more motivated and inspired by the world, or their shadowy nature, their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their indulging, their more immature, indulgent nature. So this round we're going to use the tea leaf fortune card, so I'm going to have to get clarifiers on it. And we have a lot of cards not showing themselves, which can talk about things you're rejecting, and also things that people don't know about you and that you're working on behind the scenes. For the people that might be in a little more shadowy energy, it could be things they're trying to hide from people. The reason for the reading is the gavel in reverse. Involvement with the law. So I'd say that means for high vibe people, you're in alignment with the divine flow of things, You're taking action in your life, maintaining balance within yourself, not taking impulsive, immature, reckless, action in your life. You are making good decisions in your life. For some of you, you might have cut someone out of your life. For some of you, it might have been a Libra, or it might have been someone who you thought would be just and fair who wasn't, or someone who might be more aligned with the world, and think it's just and fair to live their life that way. And so their idea of what is just and fair is different than what you think is just and fair, and you could have cut them out of your life. Let's go see what's going on behind the scenes that you're not showing people. May. Okay. The month of May is about, it shows a tree and things starting to blossom. So where I live, May is, the start of spring. And, well, actually kind of going into the summer months, but new growth, things like that. It also is the birthday months of Taurus and Gemini. So people might not know that you're putting in work and effort to align with love and being more stable and grounded and within yourself. And you might have cut some people out of your life who are more aligned with their more worldly, shadowy Taurus energy, which can be that they're more motivated and inspired by the world or ego or image or things like that. The rabbit, too much concern with sexual matters. Sexual matters, the way I view that in tarot, is like life force energy. So I think that some people don't realize you're doing all this work within yourself. Our sexual energy is how we procreate and make new things in the world. And if we're not using that life force energy in a sexual relationship, we can harness that energy to create new things in our life. So I would say maybe the high vibe people, that isn't the forefront of their mind is sexual matters. It is about connecting in with their life force energy to have a lot of abundance in their life, including intimate relationships. But you might not be showing that to people, and you might be doing some things behind the scenes. Not unsuccessful plans. What some people don't know about you is, well, for one, you're no longer debating something. The legal system could mean that you're still debating and going back and forth, and you're not debating and going back and forth on something. You know what is unsuccessful in your life, and maybe some people in your life that are too concerned with sexual matters or being motivated and inspired, their life force energy is directed to the world or ego or indulgence, and you could have cut those people out of your life because it was unsuccessful. Then we have scales. Keep your life in balance. So again, the scales of justice represents Libra energy. Some of you could have cut a Libra out of your life, or again, someone who you thought would be just and fair who wasn't. And you're doing the work within yourself to cut ties with that to get the justice you deserve. And you're maintaining balance within yourself so that you don't tip out of balance and maybe indulge someone because you might be attracted to them, you might love them or whatever, but you realize that your dreams aren't going to come into reality with that person. It would be an injustice because maybe what you're motivated and inspired by in the world, you're motivated by like just and fair and loyal and committed and deep, meaningful, loving relationships. And the other people might be want to stay in the relationship, but it's more because it's good for their ego and their image and you're loving and nurturing, but they're not quite on that page. So it's kind of more about indulging them. And then we have the boot. Increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. I think you're putting in the work and effort to detach from what's unjust in your life, and you do that by maintaining this balance within yourself and putting in the work and effort to detach from the past, old ways of thinking about yourself, old ways of living life, old ways about viewing life. You know, because Taurus energy in the May card, Gemini, this being like a Gemini Taurus card, Gemini is a dualistic sign, and we all tap into Gemini energy, and it's kind of like, what aspect within myself am I going to align with? Am I going to align with my more hopeful, believing nature? Is that how I think I can manifest my dreams into reality? Or am I going to align with my more worldly view of life and not listen to my intuition to guide me and love to guide me in my ego, thinking I know best, and I'm going to work with the world? And Taurus has to do with our overarching philosophy of life, and it influences the decisions we make. And so if you had found yourself living your life, or there could be other people, you could just cut some people out of your life who kind of more align with their worldly nature. Some of you have always been more aligned with your hopeful, believing nature and love, but there might be other people that kind of were... Maybe Taurus has to do with jobs, relationships. Maybe some people were staying in something because they were afraid of detaching from it, afraid they wouldn't get the justice they want. And so those people could be not detaching from their more worldly nature in order to get the justice they deserve, because it does take aligning with your more hopeful, believing nature, and it requires work and effort. You know, everything that we want in the world, it takes work and effort, but some people could be, I don't know, don't want to put in work and effort. Taurus is earth sign energy about putting in work and effort. Some people are putting a lot of work and effort to indulge themselves in the world or have the money or the status and image, but they're not willing to put in work and effort to get more balance within themselves, and those people would be out of balance. Some of those people don't want to be held accountable for their actions. In order to move forward in life, we have to see the truth. The truth sets us free. Some people don't want to reveal the truth. Some people can let go of a relationship with people who are just and fair, and they didn't want to move forward with those people because they wanted to go indulge in the world or make their life more about money and materialism. And even if some of those people have learned some lessons and they might want to come back and get in a relationship with some of those people, they're not willing to be held accountable for their actions. So let's get some more clarifiers on it. Tell us about the May card, Seven of Cups, because of the Six of Wands. In our Taurus Gemini energy, do we have illusions? Are we caught up in the illusion of the world? Are we emotionally confused? Are we all about creating an illusion, not dealing with our own emotion, not taking creative, inspired action towards our own emotional confusion to free ourselves from our fears, our insecurities, our ego? High vibe people could have been in some type of environment in the world, let's say a workplace, a friendship, a romantic relationship, and they were confused. And because they wanted for the relationship to move forward. The Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, wanting to work together with people in a balanced way where people are willing to get out of their ego. The Six of Wands leaves behind the Five of Wands, and the Five of Wands in Leo energy can be that we have a lot of inner conflict that we don't want to deal with, or we're really competitive in the world, or we're emotionally defensive to being in deep, meaningful relationships. Some people just want to get in relationships and indulge in it, in their ego. I want to be in a relationship where I can indulge, where I don't have to work through any of my emotional confusion, any of my past pain and heartbreak. Isn't life just about creating this illusion? We don't have to deal with that. Let's just keep operating from pride and ego. And you could have been in a relationship with someone like that, where you harness your Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio energy different than the person you were in a relationship with. I hope I said Sagittarius, but, Sagittarius energy is about, are you motivated and inspired to keep moving forward in life, facing your fears and insecurities, growing yourself to your full potential? Some people aren't. It's like, that sounds confusing. I'd have to deal with my emotions and my fears and my insecurities. Let's just keep moving forward, that everything's great, and let's keep operating from pride and ego. And some of you let go of someone like that, with that card being in reverse. And some of the people that you could have been in a relationship with, they don't want to be just and fair. They're tipped out of balance, and they want you to indulge them in their poor behavior. Or for you to be in your fear and your insecurity so that they feel like they're this just and fair and loving person. But if you heal from your past pain and heartbreak and you love and believe in yourself, well, then they don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, because you're not codependent on them like a child would be with a parent. And some people like to have that, like, I'm the disciplined one, or I'm the parental type figure, and you should be codependent on me. And you, when you could have been in that relationship, you did work to work through your issues and your own emotional confusion to just not maybe be in your ego and as emotionally confused as you were. And I think what people don't know about you, sometimes, again, we can get in relationships with people and they think, I know, I'm going to be unjust and unfair. If none of my other tactics have worked, I'm going to let go of this relationship, and I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone else. The Seven of Cups can be viewing someone as an option to go get in a relationship with. I'm going to act out of pride and ego. I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. I'm not going to try to repair this relationship. I'm not going to be just and fair. I'm not going to put in work and effort. And thinking that would throw you out of balance. And either that if they throw you out of balance and you kind of go run your life off into the ditch, even though they weren't just and fair in a relationship, hoping that by doing kind of these hurtful, unkind things, that you'll take impulsive, reckless action in your life and go indulge to feel better in the face of injustice, and that, then they can look like they're the stable, grounded, balanced person in the world. And for some of those people, that didn't work out because you didn't get tipped out of balance. You maintained your balance, and you did this work to not take action from ego. And you put effort into working through your own emotional confusion about somebody being unjust and unfair and prideful and egotistical, that maybe wanted to go get in a relationship with someone else, or was just trying to manipulate you to make you act like out of character in a way so that they would look like they're the victor and the winner. And you're like, you know what? You do what you want to do. I'm not going to act out of character because that would be an injustice to me. I'm going to keep putting in the work and effort to love and believe in myself, to not operate out of my ego, because I've already learned that that doesn't get me what I want in life. It just runs my life off into ditch. And even though I find it really confusing, I have hope and faith and belief in my dreams. And if this wasn't the relationship for me, I assume the divine has something planned for me. And if I run my life off in the ditch, I'm not going to get it. So I'm going to keep being bold and brave. And high vibe Leo energy is about loving yourself, treating yourself with love and compassion and kindness and encouragement every day so that you can keep moving forward. Tell us about the rabbit. Too much concern with sexual matters, the Virgo energy, the Ace of Swords, the Aquarius star, the King of Cups, because of the Aries energy of the Emperor. I don't think you got all caught up in sexual matters. You know, some people, if something's unjust, sometimes people operate from pride and ego. Right away, I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone else. I'm going to hide the truth. I'm making this decision because I want to look like I'm the shining star and I got like in a new relationship. And you didn't act that way. I think you went within. Instead of going indulging in the world to feel better, you used your like life force energy to go within. That's the decision you made to make a good decision in your life. I'm going to go within to gain insight about this whole situation. I mean, it can be confusing if you were in a relationship or a marriage or a workplace where it seemed like everybody was like your dream was going to come into reality. You know, what was I missing? Because apparently this isn't what it was cracked up to be. And so I think you went in to try to... Virgo goes within in the Hermit energy, and we all tap into our Virgo energy at different times. And you went within to find the truth. And you could have seen the truth that some people, you know, kind of wear this false mask. It's all about ego and image. Shadowy Aquarius, some of them are kind of full of themselves. And you're supposed to buy into the illusion of who they are. And if they think, you know, I maybe look victorious and successful in the world, or I'm attractive, or I'm charming, or I got social clout, or I got money, whatever it is they think they got, they could be kind of full of themselves and think that people should hide from seeing the truth and just view them as like, oh my gosh, you're the center of my universe. I'm going to love you because you are charming or successful or have money or whatever. But you saw through the illusion. You saw the truth that this person is either full of themselves and they try to present themselves as being a boss in the world, but really it's just an illusion. They operate from pride and ego. They could be egotistical and self-centered. They think everybody else should put aside their pride and ego in the relationship, but never them. And they wear this false mask that they're this loving family person, like to you and people in the world. And that's the persona. You know, high vibe, well, Libra energy in general within all of us can be like our public politician persona, you know, trying to maintain an image in the world that we're just and fair. I'm not out of balance. I'm not prideful. I'm not egotistical, blah, blah, blah. And you could have tipped someone upside down, because if they try to present themselves as being someone who harnesses all these positive traits, I harness high vibe Leo, I harness high vibe Scorpio, Virgo, Aries, Aquarius, Cancer. I'm a loving family person. I make decisions that are best for everyone. Look how victorious and successful I am. People should look up to me and admire me. But it's really more just a persona they project in the world. When it comes down to it, they don't make decisions that are best for everyone involved. They make decisions that are best for them. And they're really create the illusion of being a loving person, but in shadowy Scorpio energy, they really could be more emotionally shallow and superficial. And they get in relationships, and because they might have status or image or good looking or charming or social clout or whatever they got, they think people will just buy into the illusion of who they are and that they can keep wearing this false mask and kind of in shadowy Sagittarius energy indulge themselves in a relationship. You know, you buy into the illusion of who I am, let's move forward and look like we got it made in the world, and basically I'll sexually indulge myself in a relationship. I really won't be in a relationship with you where I'm authentically myself in the world. That'd be high vibe Leo. That's maybe how some of you were. Authentically warm, loving, giving, nurturing, supportive, not acting out of pride and ego and pettiness and envious and jealous and competitive in the world, not emotionally defensive. Someone who's gained insight and wisdom that has hope and faith and belief in your dreams of love. And you were authentically offering someone love. You wanted to have your dreams come into reality. You offered yourself love to heal from your past pain and heartbreak and your self-limiting beliefs. And you might have even been trying to live up to what you thought this person was like, you know, before you were emotionally confused and kind of had a lot of inner conflict. You could have done this work within yourself to be like, I want to be someone that they're proud of. And then you found out when you did that work, they didn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. Well, you've healed. You're not looking to me like your savior, you know? You've actually done the work and you really are all these things. And I'm in my ego about it. You're really who you say you are. I'm just trying to create an illusion to now be like what you authentically are. And that bothers me. And again, moving forward with someone who is hiding the truth that they're kind of prideful and egotistical, and they really thought their false mask, they had it down that nobody would see through the illusion. But the illusion kind of comes tumbling down when other people really do the work within themselves to be that way. And then it kind of highlights that theirs is just like a false mask, that really they operate from ego, that they could be kind of full of themselves, that they're not authentic. They use their emotions manipulatively in a relationship to get what they want. And they could be more about themselves. Their wants, their needs, their lusts, their greed, their pride and ego. And maybe think when people get in a relationship with them, everybody else should make their life all about them, like they're the center of the universe. And so for some of you, you got out of that relationship. Some people are just getting out of that type of relationship. Some of them are still in it. And the people they're in a relationship with, when they're in one of those mismatched relationships, they don't realize that the shadowy person who's not being just and fair, who's kind of operating, being immature or bossy or controlling and full of themselves, trying to manipulate people. The people they've been trying to manipulate have been confused why they act like this. And they've went within and they've maybe seen other people, maybe even some of you, that you left relationships with people who are like that. And they're like, how'd they do that? Weren't they worried about getting in another relationship or if their dreams would come into reality? Well, your dreams aren't coming into reality with someone like that. You know? Some of the people moved on to a new relationship. They wanted to go indulge themselves. Maybe there was someone they really wanted to go have sex with, that they always dreamed of having sex with, you know? Maybe one of those people, their relationship hadn't worked out. And now they were moving forward kind of confused. And they were like, hey, I bet that person's confused. I'm in this relationship moving forward. I know. I'm going to let go of this relationship. And I'm going to hide the truth about why I'm letting go of that relationship. But it's because I want to go have a victory with this person. So basically tempted in their lust and their greed. And eventually some of you could have realized that and figured out the truth, so you moved on. Tell us about the Knot card, unsuccessful plans. Some of those people were motivated more by pride and ego and money and materialism, and maybe they just didn't know if their dreams were going to come into reality with the person they were in a relationship with initially. It might have been someone they were attracted to that really, it was a great life, but I don't know if I'll have the status and the image. Will I look like as much of a boss? I got to keep up with the Joneses. Am I going to look like I'm shining as bright as I could? Maybe I should go get in a relationship with someone else in their Leo energy who already looks, and with Taurus energy and Gemini, who already looks like they've manifested victory in their life. And I'm still trying to put in maybe work and effort to get mine to come into reality. I know, I'll let go of this relationship. I'll go get in a relationship with that person. But for some of those people who did that, and some of the people who are going to do that, it's not going to work out the way they think. Tower, King of Pentacles, Nine of Wands. They might have thought, I could go tell them I've always dreamed of being in a relationship with you. But the other person could have seen that they let go of a really good job or relationship or marriage. It's like, well, why'd you let go of those people? They seem to, be loving and nurturing and supportive. Are you kind of prideful and egotistical and bossy? Are you wanting to be in a relationship with me more for reasons other than love? For some of them, they could have went to go get... So, when people go to get in a relationship with someone else, we don't know if they'll get in a relationship with someone who's loving or kind of on the same page as them. If they went to go get in a relationship with someone who's loving, somebody could have seen that this person doesn't operate, just like some of you did, that this person doesn't operate from a foundation of love. And they too could have gotten in a relationship with them, trying to nurture them and inspire them in their Sagittarius energy to move forward in the energy of love. And then they could have realized, maybe this person just doesn't want to be really in a committed relationship where they do have to make decisions that are best for everyone. Maybe they're just a player and they didn't want to be a marriage partner anymore. And they want to just go be a player. And they're not really willing to move forward with the next person and make them a marriage partner either, male or female. And for all we know, some of the people they could have gotten in relationships, or people like that, they could have gotten in a relationship with someone who is just like them. I might have just created the illusion that I wanted to have a victory with you. Or you might have been in an illusion thinking I wanted a victory with you. Really, I might operate from pride and ego too. If I know you'd been in a relationship with some loving people, yeah, I want you to let them go. Let go of that relationship. Be defensive to those people. Come invest in me. And then it'll seem like I'm the shining star. Look, they let go of those people that were loving and nurturing and supportive and who shine bright in the world, who are insightful and whatever, creative and inspired. Yet they let go of those people to get in a relationship with me. I'm like the shining star. And then once those people got their ego boosted, then they let it go because they were never planning to move forward in a relationship with them anyway. For some, it's like, I don't do love either. It was just for my ego and my image. So the thing is, when we get tempted to act in our shadow nature, we're either not seeing the people clearly who we go to get in a relationship with because our judgment is clouded by pride or ego or illusion or confusion or pride or fear or codependency or whatever. And we're not seeing people clearly. And some people think, oh, well, just this person has grown and matured themselves. That would be high vibe King of Pentacles. They want me to move forward in love and have good boundaries to my more shadow nature. I don't want to move forward with them. I know. I think I can go back here and manipulate this other person who's confused, maybe not in a relationship, who wants to have a victory. I'll go get in a relationship with them. I bet my superficial ways of being will work with them, and then they could find out, they have a hard time finding people to stay in a relationship. If they get people who are loving, well, eventually those people see the truth too. They kind of listen to their intuition, and they don't want to be in a relationship with someone who just wants to indulge themselves. I want to be in a relationship with you. It's good for my ego and my image and my status, and I'll have sex with you. but I'm not willing to really invest in love. I'm not willing to invest in having good boundaries within myself. I'm not willing to look at life as an adventure to be lived. I have fears and insecurities that make me probably operate from my ego and my emotionally defensive nature. I just want to be in relationships with other people who've had something happen to their relationship, who also might be defensive. And then I can go get in a relationship with them, and we can stay in a relationship where nobody grows and matures in themselves. Nobody maybe becomes a marriage partner. Nobody learns to have good boundaries, and we just stay here consumed with our ego and image and indulgence because we want to be in a relationship. And some people don't want to stay in a relationship and be in that. If they go get in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, well, if that person's all about money and materialism and status and image and isn't getting in the relationship because of love, well, if someone comes along, oh my gosh, I'm in this relationship with you. Yeah, this seems great. It's good for my ego and my image. You know, it looks good. Oh, wait, there's someone else who has more money and more status. They might have had something happen in their life. Sorry, I'm gonna go leave you, and I'm gonna go present myself as loving to that person. Because they have more status and more image, and they're more attractive and more charming and have more power than you. So, you know, there's no way to win really in shadowy energy. So we should work through our emotional confusion, go within, see the truth that it's about having hope and faith and belief in your dreams, taking creative, inspired action to love and believe in yourself, to know your worth and value, to take action in the world, in high vibe Cancer energy, treating other people the way you like to be treated, being someone who makes good decisions in friendships and in the workplace and in relationships, who's grown and matured themselves, who's learned these lessons from past life experience. Because high vibe Emperor energy is people who, I've ran my life off into the ditch before letting my heart run my life. I've ran my life in the ditch before being caught up in my more immature, indulgent, prideful, egotistical nature. I ran my life into the ditch getting too consumed with the things of the world. I ran my life into the ditch getting too caught up in my mind, being defensive, being in my fear, being in my insecurity. I'm going to take all the lessons I've learned from all of those lessons to not do that again. And, maybe detach from my more worldly defensive nature, harnessing shadowy Capricorn and Sagittarius energy to love my shadowy nature, admit that I have a shadowy nature, and temper my shadowy nature, offer love, compassion, and forgiveness to myself for the mistakes I've made in life, because life is all about learning lessons, and no shame in making mistakes if you learn the lessons. You know, a lot of people are really proud that some things happened in their life or that wouldn't have gotten them to where they are today. It really taught them some valuable lessons, and that's high vibe King of Pentacles. Harnessing shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. We've all got our shadow nature. We're all immature, impulsive, prideful, egotistical, looking to the answer outside of ourselves instead of going within and realizing, wow, I had some illusions in the past. I was naive. I was gullible. I thought I was kind of operating more from my worldly egoic nature. I hadn't learned to see the truth, to love myself. But now I have, and I'm going to offer love to my foundation to grow and mature myself, to free myself from all the things that try to limit me, restrict me, confine me, oppress me like the devil does. I'm going to love myself to get out of my fear and my insecurity and my self-limiting beliefs. And I'm going to love myself enough to detach from people in my life who are defensive to love. I wish them peace. I'm moving on. To get my divine inheritance, to get the justice I deserve. And some of the people who either thought they could manipulate you into doing the relationship the way they wanted, or thought they could go indulge and then come back, now see that you have good boundaries to them. And it's like, I'm only doing love. So if you haven't detached from those old ways of being and detached from your more worldly nature and your ego and your fear and your emotional defensiveness or your self-centeredness or your lust or your greed or whatever, no. I offer you love, and for some, I only offer you peace, and I don't ever, you're just one of the people I used to know, like that song says. I'm not interested in being in a relationship with you again romantically. If it's adult children and siblings and parents and friends, those people we can extend more grace to because we're not going to have like an intimate relationship with them. But it's up for you. We don't want to make decisions out of pride and ego, but if not out of pride and ego, it's like, God, I just can't do that again. This person betrayed me too badly. Because sometimes some people are really shadowy and they don't like it that you love and believe in yourself and that you healed and that you're the real deal. And then they do things purposely to try to destabilize you and to bring your whole foundation down, all because they're defensive to love. How dare you love yourself? You are supposed to make it all about indulging me. And if you're not going to, then I'm going to try to tear you down. I'm going to try to take everything away from you. Because I saw the truth that you love and believe in yourself and you're not willing to make me like your God and the center of your universe, and that you're not someone who's enslaved and imprisoned to all the things that I'm enslaved and imprisoned by. My ego, my fear, the world, money, addiction, or whatever. You're like, you know what? Love's the only thing that helps me heal. I wish you peace and love. I'm moving on. Tell us about the scales. Keep your life in balance. The only reason, we don't want to act out of pride or ego or vengefulness because there is consequences to operating from shadow. So we want to keep maintaining our balance. Peace and love to the world. You do you, boo. I wish you the best because we need more healed people in the world. Oh, Queen of Wands in reverse because of the Eight of Swords. The Queen of Wands is like the Six of Wands Leo energy. You're not aligning with your more emotionally egoic nature. And the Queens in Tarot talk about our emotional state. You've given a lot of thought to what is loving and what isn't loving. What is just and fair, what isn't just and fair, what is compassionate, what is kindness, what is encouraging. And you're focused and keeping your mind focused. There's a maximum of 10 in every suit. This is 8 of Swords. If you're 8 swords up in your head, you're focused on 2 cups of love in your heart, which is like aligning with your loving, intuitive nature. That's your focus. Not your ego, and not the other people in your life who are operating from ego. You are focused on maintaining balance, aligned with love. Tell us the Boot card. Increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. Now, while some of you have moved forward, or as some people get out of these relationships and learn to have good boundaries within themselves, that I deserve love. I don't deserve to have a future and have my future be people who are upside down and in a mental prison about love. No, I want people in my future that I'm defending. I want people in my future who aren't operating from ego and fear of love. I want in my future people who are aligned with love. And so some people that are going through this right now, just like some of you already did, have been doing this work within themselves to work through their emotional confusion, to get over their fears of if they'll maybe be able to have a new relationship in their future, to have hope and faith and belief in their dreams. And they're doing this work within themselves to detach from their more worldly nature, to be more inspired by love, and if the cups and the swords are kind of correlated, then the wands and the pentacles would be more correlated, where some people could have been kind of really more all in, being more motivated and inspired by the world. And we all grow up in the world, and we all get brought up in the thing about the world, and don't you get in a relationship and to have these things and accomplish these goals. And sometimes we lose the point that the whole point of it was to get in relationships with people that we love. Sometimes people kind of get more persuaded by the world, and it's like sometimes they ignored loving people because they didn't seem like they had the status or the image, or didn't believe they could manifest the dream into reality with those people, and they could have picked people who are more stable and secure, and then it kind of bit them in the ass, because we can all get caught up in the illusion of the world. And we don't believe that we can manifest our dreams into reality. And then these relationships fall apart, and we kind of see through the illusion, and we realize that it's more important to love and believe in myself and trust that the divine will help me manifest my dreams into reality, and that I need to listen more to my intuition. And let's see, that's the 9 of Wands. So that would be focusing on one pentacle, like the Ace of Pentacles or the Page of Pentacles, or, where I am willing to be a student of life. I am willing to humble myself, not be in my ego, that I had lessons to learn. I got caught up in the illusion of the world. I got caught up in my fear or my insecurity or my ego or my codependency, and that blew apart. So I think I'm going to humble myself, and I'm going to learn to love myself and be inspired to believe in myself and believe in my dreams, to really stay focused on not being caught up in my fear or my insecurity or my codependency, and to keep maintaining balance within myself, being a student of life, willing to start fresh, willing to start new, taking the lessons I learned from that life experience of how important it is for me to maintain balance within myself. Because if I don't take action in my life out of respect for myself, love for myself, compassion for myself, forgiveness for myself, being loving and encouraging to myself, like my own best mother, father, coach voice in my own head, I might take some action out of shadowy energy. And it's like, that's represented by the devil. The devil lies. It is not going to turn out the way I think. So if I've learned that lesson, that I have learned all these lessons in life, it is not to align with my more prideful, egotistical nature. I'm going to listen to my intuition to guide me, and love to guide me. So increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. The Empress energy and the Ace of Wands. When we do this work within ourselves emotionally, and we take action in our life, the masculine figures can talk about taking action. So even though people are doing this work within themselves, kind of like behind the scenes, the way they're taking action in the world is staying out of their ego, looking at life from a higher perspective, making good decisions in their life, not letting maybe other people in their life who are being defensive to them, trying to get them to move forward with them in a relationship, but they harness shadowy energy. And why would we be tempted to move forward with people who are kind of in shadowy energy? Because we haven't learned to love ourselves. Those people could be trying to appeal and tempt us either sexually or to be more immature and indulgent in our Sagittarius energy. And it's kind of like, no, I already know the truth of who you are. I already know that you're defensive. I already know that you wear a false mask. I already know that you're prideful and egotistical and bossy and controlling. And you're trying to get me not to let go of this relationship by now after being all this and I'm kind of maintaining my balance, you now see that I might be detaching and about ready to get out of my ego about you and being tempted by you because of the money or the materialism or the status or the image or my fear. And now somebody could be trying to tempt those people to stop them. And we can all go out in the world every day and be tempted, right? The only reason we would be tempted by it is because we're still aligned with something that those people represent to us. I want to be immature and indulgent. I want to not have to make good decisions in my life. I want to give up on my dreams. I just want to go indulge in the world, or I want the lust or the greed or the whatever, you know. I want to boost my ego. But it's a false sense of ego. It's going to destabilize what we've built in our life. Shadow energy, you know, we all have a dualistic nature. We live in a dualistic world. We have the knowledge of good and evil within us. And the seeds were planted for both. Whichever one we feed is going to get bigger. Whichever one we let be in the driver's seat of our life, it's going to be harder to wrestle the steering wheel away from them. And we all know that when we haven't learned to love and believe in ourselves and have good boundaries to ourselves and be disciplined within ourselves, it kind of drives our life off into the ditch. And then it's really hard, you know, that's what the devil's about, that it's really hard to get our life back on track. You know, we had to learn some valuable lessons, and we had to admit that basically I didn't want to do the work to see the truth. I didn't have hope and faith and belief in myself. I didn't have hope and faith and belief in love. I don't have hope and faith and belief in other people. I don't have hope and faith and belief in my dreams. Well, if we want to keep living in hell, we can do that. But for those of you who have already been there and done that, maybe several times, because, you know, we got to learn these tough lessons in life. And some people are really facing a challenging time in their life. And some of those people... And it can be hard because some of the people that we'd like to have move forward in our life, you know, the King of Pentacles can represent like a father figure. It can be a sense of stability and security in our life. And that's kind of why we're tempted to keep staying in certain jobs or relationships that we really don't care for, but by worldly standards it looks great, but this isn't aligned with my truth. It makes me feel out of balance in it. Or the people I'm working with try to wear down my sense of self-esteem, and, you know, to keep putting up with them being bossy and controlling and self-centered or immature or indulgent or manipulative or whatever. And I don't deserve to be in an environment like that. And the thing to remember is that if negative people in the world and negative energy in general is creating a negative environment in the world, there's other people in the world who are creating a positive environment. Because they're both battling negative energy and positive energy, battling for us to choose them, to have our dreams come into reality. But so positive energy is always providing the resources, even if it's books and music and art and movies and, you know, pets and friends and all the things that we could spend our time on to get to a more balanced place, versus people who might, or things or ways of living our life that provide a false sense of stability or security in our life or image in our life, but it's not our truth. And to not live your truth, you know, is kind of an awful thing. So the Empress energy is Libra Taurus energy again, which is a big theme of this reading apparently. In high vibe, emotionally, because that's what the Queens in Tarot can talk about, is our emotional state. If we do this work and effort to detach from our defensive nature, ego nature, immature nature, impulsive nature, lacking self-discipline nature, and get more balanced within ourselves and have some hope and faith and belief and love, we'll be able to give birth to a brand new beginning. The nines and the tens in tarot can talk about completing a cycle, but you have to do that last step. And that's where some people fall. They get all up in their head. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I need to go feel better. Oh my gosh, I'm wounded. I feel defensive. Well, are we going to love ourselves that last bit and get out of our ego and our fear to love ourselves? Take creative action about our fears and our insecurities to close out and finish the cycle, to be done with it and have that new beginning. A lot of people give up. And a lot of times we've given up in the past and we went and repeated that same pattern. Different people, different jobs, different relationship, and same old shit. We had another lesson to learn. The whole thing is, we got a lot of lessons to learn. Maybe 7 significant relationships, maybe 5 significant relationships. We have to become less naive and less gullible. We got to realize not everybody's motivated by love. We got to realize some people are really motivated by ego and image. Some people are all about themselves. They want to be the boss. They want to be the center of attention. It's all about them. Some people have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And they think it's just and fair to be manipulative and hurtful or unkind or whatever, We got to see the truth that not everybody is motivated and inspired by love. And if we want to have our dreams come into reality, we need to first learn to love ourselves. To be willing to, because you can be a very loving person, but it's kind of out of your comfort zone to let other people love you and treat you the way you treat people because you're used to and have a pattern of trying to, like maybe in a God complex or savior complex, to make other people detach from their worldly ways and choose love. Well, maybe that's us operating in our ego. Maybe we should accept that people, if they show us they're immature and reckless, get out of your ego about it. They're immature and reckless. If we see people are prideful and egotistical, get out of your ego. We do not. It's to offer people love, to have good to peace. Offer people peace. Treat people the way you'd like to be treated, but keep your distance and have good boundaries. You're kind of aligned with the competition or the enemy. You're not aligned with truth and justice and fairness and acting with character and integrity and love. I got to have good boundaries to realize I can love people, but if they're going to act that way, no, I'm not going to be in my ego about it. That's for them to solve. I've already learned those lessons that doesn't get me anywhere, and I choose to give birth to a new beginning and take creative, inspired action in my life because there's other people in the world who aren't, you could look at the legal system as people who are still going back and forth debating amongst themselves. Well, I don't know. Do I want to do love? I do want love, but I want to be defensive. Or I want to do love, but I really kind of want to be it my way. And they're going back and forth. Some people have picked a path. And it's like, life's an adventure to be lived. It's not worth the angst and the pain and the heartbreak and the whatever. I see the truth. The truth sets me free. Life's an adventure to be lived. I can have love for people who will not be moving forward with me at this time. But I've already learned some of the lessons that they haven't learned. And I deserve to be in relationships with other loving people who are balanced within themselves, who did this work to be aligned with love and hope and faith, and who are bold and brave enough to step out of their comfort zone and detach from their fear and their insecurity and ego to go on an adventure with me. We're no longer tangled up in the justice system. We're free. And that's what high vibe energy is about. Being free from your fear and your insecurity and your pride and your ego and your more worldly focused life. We all put in work and effort to have stability and security and enjoy the finer things in life. And it's doing it from a place of love and listening to your intuition to guide you to what is the next thing you should start investing in, instead of being in fear. The divine has a plan for your life. We've already found out aligning with our more worldly nature and living our life that way doesn't get us what we want. Enlightened to the truth. Why? Because emotionally, we learn lessons in life. We grew and matured ourselves emotionally. So now we're ready. The Queen of Pentacles represents people who would be good employees, good bosses, good marriage partners, good friends, because they're not operating from ego. They've learned lessons in life to be nurturing and loving to themselves, to be encouraging to other people. I'm going to have good boundaries with people in the world who are in shadowy energy, but I'm going to wish them peace and love. I'm going to try to offer them some resources to look at their life differently, to expand their perception of themselves and the world around them and what they believe is possible, because our whole world and how we take action in the world is based on what we think. If we think something is possible, it is. If we think something isn't possible, it isn't. And that reminds me of my poem. Not my poem, but it's a partial poem. I had it on my fridge for years, and I kind of moved in the last year, and then I found it. But it's part of a poem by Edgar A. Guest called Equipment. Courage must come from the soul within. The man must furnish the will to win. So figure it out for yourself, my lad. You are born with all that the great have had. With your equipment they all began. So get hold of yourself and say, I can. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. You know, we manifest next week, next year, the next 10 years of our life into reality, depending on what we align with within ourselves. Do we align with hope and faith and love? Do we have good discipline to our more fearful, insecure, impulsive, shadowy nature? Going to think we know better and take action out of pride or ego or fear or insecurity? If you align with your more loving, intuitive nature, taking action out of love and respect for yourself, and not indulging your own poor behavior and other people in poor behavior, you have no choice but to manifest that in your life, because you're not spending your time and energy on trying to convince other people who have the free will to choose differently, and they've already made their free will choice. So go find the people in the world who are on the same page as you. So how do I think the shadowy people are going to harness this? I think those people are still aligned with their more worldly nature, still caught up in the illusion of their own ego or the world. They're hiding the truth that they are probably that they're aligned with their shadowy energy in some shape or form. And they don't want people in the world to know that, because they want people to get in a relationship with them. And they don't probably want people to know that the relationships that they have been in didn't work out because they were defensive to love, and that the people they were in relationship with were maybe very loving and nurturing and inspiring, but they have a lot of fear of not aligning. You know, why do people align with their more emotionally defensive, egoic nature? Because it makes them feel safe. You can get hurt doing love. And some people haven't done the work within themselves. They have a very unstable foundation. It's all about image and presentation. They haven't done the inner work to have a very stable emotional foundation within themselves to believe that they can weather storms in life. You know, that I can pick myself up. You know, people can kick me to the curb, throw me under the bus. I can pick myself up and move on. You know, some people are so afraid. You know, instead of, what if I get in a relationship with someone loving and then it doesn't go in my favor? Then some people would kind of really, I can't even relate to it, I tell you. But I think some people would really be in their ego that they authentically really invested in someone. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why a relationship wouldn't work out. You know, we're motivated and inspired by different dreams. Some people, you can love them, but it's like, I really want to live in a big town. And the other person's like, I want to live in the country. You know, I really always imagine, you know, people don't have to be superficial and shallow and whatever, but there's just some people who's like, your comfort zone, might be kind of hanging out and doing these things, but I always imagine my life hanging out and doing these things. Sometimes we just have different interests in life. I grew up in a small town, small state, whatever, probably hick compared to a lot of people, but it's like going to the demolition derby and the car races and stuff like that. We don't even have, other than maybe some nice restaurants, we don't have anything fancy to even do here. But if I did live in a big town, yeah, I'd want to go out to the nice restaurants there too. I'd want to go to the whatever. If you lived in New York City, I'd want to go do, but it's just that some people have absolutely no interest. But you can love someone, but it's like, I am not going to go with you. I have no interest in going to Broadway to a show. It's like, well, can't we go to a show sometimes just to see what it's like? It's like, and then that can be someone who's kind of operating from their ego and that's the whole thing. Are we willing to keep nurturing people even when we kind of don't necessarily want to do what they want to do? Are we willing to work cooperatively together, to help? The whole thing is, if you're going to work together with other people, everybody had all their dreams that they wanted to do. But if you're going to work together with other people, well, you might have to shave off some of the things you would have done if you were single. I might have to shave off some of the things that I would have done in my life if I was in a relationship with you. And it's to say, everybody needs to compromise. So, I think if some of you could have moved away from that and you did this work to love yourself, you could have realized that there were some people in your life that you could have rejected and maybe didn't even get in a relationship with, that you could be realizing now that when I had these lessons to learn, I could have rejected some people who offered me love. And some of you might be trying to mend relationships with adult children or siblings or parents or friends, but there also might be a romantic interest. And if that person could be working through this right now, and the whole thing is, we don't want to get stuck in something, we deserve justice and fairness. And when our intuition tells us it's time to move forward and invest, that if there's people we could have made an offer to that we wish they would come forward, they're where they're at, and we just assume that the divine has another plan for our life. There's been other people in the world when we've been going through this process, just like some of you are at this process, and there's other people going through it. There's other people who learned these lessons before we did, or they didn't have as many lessons to learn as we did, and they've been waiting for someone like you to come up the stream of life, and they could see that you're a very nurturing, balanced, loving person, and they've been waiting for someone like you to appear in their life, and they want to have a new beginning. And, if other people that we wish, maybe because we already knew them, but, be enlightened to the truth that people have to be willing to emotionally invest in us for us to give birth to something new. And if other people aren't, maybe they're really not on the same page as we are, or they're on that same page, but they got themselves into a different relationship or something, If they were meant to be free to get in a relationship with you, they'd be free to get in a relationship with you. So listen to your intuition. What's going to come up for the people in high vibe Sagittarius that they don't see coming? That you're going to have people communicate with you. And because we live in a dualistic world and you have free choice, you're maybe going to get different types of people communicating with you. Some of them are immature, and they want to win at all costs, and they have a lot of mental conflict, and they could know you're a very loving person, and if the person they are in a relationship with, or the way they've been living their life, has them feeling stuck, or the person they are in a relationship with isn't getting in a relationship with them, or is kind of prideful and egotistical, and kind of like them if they're in shadowy energy, well, if that person isn't treating them the way they want, they'll get in a relationship with you, but they're really not on the same page as you. They're defensive to looking at life from a higher perspective. They have mental conflict about the truth, that it should be about love and justice and fairness. They're immature and they have a lot of growing up to do, and they might be self-centered. You're going to have other people communicate with you who are in that hopeful, believing nature of a page, which can be just a thing at a place of balance. I want to get to know you better. Or if it is someone you know, they're going to tell you the truth. And if it's someone you know that might be a little defensive to you because of how you've lived your life in the past, maybe you didn't get in a relationship with them before, maybe you let go of being in a relationship with them before, and they could have some mental conflict about getting in a relationship with you again, if that's the case. Otherwise, it could just be new people that, it's not coming on strong and heavy, it's just trying to get to know you and see where you're at and get to know what your dreams are and tell you about some of their dreams, or, things like that. And just getting to know you to see if you're on the same page or not. Tell us about what the people that harness a little more worldly or shadowy Sagittarius energy, what they don't see coming. The Two of Pentacles, the Empress, the Tower, and also for you people that had dealt with someone before who was very prideful and egotistical and wanted to kind of win at all costs, and they were willing to let go of you, might even try to really destabilize you, that person is going to have a lot of mental conflict because they didn't destabilize you, and you're giving birth to something new, either in a workplace or in relationships or both. And they could have a lot of mental conflict about how you did this because they've never been able to do this. And they're so full of themselves and might think they're so creative or whatever. And you're going to manifest a new beginning. And so that wasn't something you were going for. But just to know, they might end up really being in their ego about the fact that you keep not playing the game at their level. You're not being prideful and egotistical and competitive and trying to be the center of attention and look like you're the winner. You're just investing in your life to be stable and grounded and get what you deserve in life. And they would like you to compete like they compete because it's maybe hurting their image. They thought for sure you were like them, and that when this relationship ended, that you'd go out to try to get in a relationship to look like you're the shining star, and you maybe didn't do any of that. And it ended up reflecting maybe kind of more poorly on them. Also, so for the people that are in shadowy energy, what they don't see coming, well, for one, they didn't expect that the people they juggled and left out in the cold would love and believe in themselves to detach from being in a relationship with them and would move on. And move on in a very balanced, loving way, not even needing to be in a relationship with someone else in order to do it. Because in shadow energy, we're codependent. If nothing else, codependent on the world. Are you approving of how I'm doing things? What do you think about how I look and how I'm acting? And do I look like I'm a winner? And do I look like I'm really victorious and successful? It's all about being codependent on other people and how they're coming across. And you could have moved forward on your own. And it's like, damn, how are you not in your codependent energy and your fear and your insecurity? And it's like, because I'm stable and grounded within myself in my Taurus energy, and I love myself. So I don't need to be in a relationship in order to move forward in my life. But they really depend on other people to make them look like they have a certain status or image. And for some of those people, the relationships they keep trying to get in don't work out. And they can be really codependent on having a certain image. Some people just don't like to be single. Like, I've got to be in a relationship because they think that says something about their worth and value. I think if there's nobody worthy to be in a relationship around you that you keep waiting and listening to your intuition instead of trying to force the wheel of fate in your favor. But some of those people can't believe that people loved and believed in themselves and moved forward. And for some of you that you're getting in a new relationship and you're moving forward, they didn't think you would ever detach from them and quit being codependent on them because they've never detached from people in their life that they're codependent on. And what they also don't see coming is there might be someone coming towards them who juggles, who also might be more aligned with their Libra-Taurus energy. Because if these people had been in a relationship with loving people and they let those people go, apparently love didn't get them to see the truth. So they might have someone come in their life who's more on the same page as them, which might be what they thought they wanted. I don't want to do love. Those people want me to look at life differently. Those people want me to emotionally grow and mature myself. You're like the devil. I need to go find someone who's on the same page as me. Someone who's aligned more with their worldly Capricorn energy. They don't have to be a Capricorn. And their Libra-Taurus energy, where it's more about, presenting this facade to the world, but really making it more about money and materialism. I don't want to do love. Well, they might manifest that. And they might have some people come in their life who also might try to tear down their whatever foundation they do have within themselves, because they might really want to stay in this relationship for the ego and the image and the status. And there's no way you're going anywhere, buddy or girly. I'm going to do things in this relationship to manipulate you and destabilize you and maybe leave you out in the cold and do all these things to mess with your head and your sense of whatever little remaining sense of worth and value you have, to totally destroy you so that you'll never leave. And I can keep juggling you and you'll look to me for everything that you need. So, I guess what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And some of these people, that's how they kind of viewed people in the relationship. You should make it all about me. You shouldn't dream of anything more than being in a relationship with me. And they might get in a relationship with someone who feels that same way. And if they're not willing to see the truth with those people, they're going to move forward in a very unstable relationship where they feel left out in the cold. But because of the image or the money or the materialism, they're going to stay in it anyway. And I guess, if all those things, pride comes before the fall, if they're not willing to get out of their ego and they want to keep moving forward in this illusion, they're going to keep hiding the truth and presenting it as like everything's wonderful and hiding that it's a very unstable, defensive, immature, maybe unloving relationship, because nobody is willing to take bold, brave, creative, inspired action to deal with their fears and insecurities, to do love and maybe be enlightened to the truth. That because some people just, the truth sets us free. Some people don't want to acknowledge the truth that they're bossy and controlling, that they're materialistic, that they're more motivated by money than love, that they kind of have this illusion that they're a loving person, but only until the people in their life want a more just and fair relationship. And then it's like, well, now you don't put me in the privileged position and you don't pamper and indulge me and you're not codependent anymore. That's how I feel like I'm loving. So anyway, there you go, Sagittarius energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.